Have you ever noticed that the people who never post on social media are often the most interesting people you know? There's something strange about this, isn't it? We live in a world where silence is perceived as absence, where not sharing is seen as having nothing to share. But what if I told you that the psychology of people who don't post reveals something far more complex than simply being private or shy? In a digital age where everyone is broadcasting their lives, these people are choosing a different path. And the reasons behind that choice? They are far more fascinating than you might think. Let's start with what you see on the surface. You scroll through your feed. There's Sarah posting her morning coffee, Mark sharing his gym progress, Jennifer documenting her vacation in real time, story by story, moment by moment. And then there's that friend. You know the one. They have an account. They're there. But their profile is a ghost town. Maybe a profile picture from 3 years ago. Maybe nothing at all. Your first thought might be, they don't have anything interesting happening in their lives. But here's the thing. That assumption? It's almost always wrong. The truth is, people who don't post often have incredibly rich, full lives. They're just living them differently. And this is where it gets interesting. The psychology of selective silence. Here's what's really happening in the mind of someone who doesn't post. It's not about having nothing to say. It's about having a different relationship with experience itself. There's a concept in psychology called experience sampling, and research has shown something fascinating. The moment you decide to document an experience for social media, you fundamentally change your relationship with that experience. You are no longer fully in it. You are observing it, curating it, performing it. People who don't post have often made an unconscious calculation. They've realized that the act of sharing dilutes the act of living. When you are at a concert and you are not filming it, you are actually there. When you are having dinner with friends and you are not thinking about the caption, you are actually present. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is control. And this is where it gets complex. Because for some people, not posting is an act of protection. For others, it's an act of rebellion. And for many, it's something else entirely. The protectors, guarding the self. Let me tell you about the first type. These are the people who have learned, whether through experience or intuition, that exposure comes with a cost. There's research in attachment theory that suggests people with certain attachment styles are more cautious about self-disclosure. They've learned that showing too much can lead to judgment, misunderstanding, or vulnerability that doesn't feel safe. So they protect themselves by not participating in the performance at all. But here's what's fascinating. This isn't about fear. It's about wisdom. Think about it. Every time you post something, you are inviting interpretation. You are opening yourself up to the projections, assumptions, and judgments of people who might not know you at all. And for someone who values deep, authentic connection over broad, shallow acknowledgement, that trade-off doesn't make sense. These people often have small circles of close friends. They'd rather text you a photo directly than post it for 500 people who are mostly strangers. They'd rather have a real conversation than collect reactions from people they haven't spoken to in 10 years. The psychology behind this runs deeper. There's a concept called cognitive privacy, the idea that some thoughts and experiences should remain unobserved, not because they are shameful, but because observation changes them. When you know something beautiful happened and only you and the people who were there know it, there's a purity to that, a sanctity. The moment you broadcast it, it becomes something else. It becomes content, performance, currency, and maybe some people just want to keep beauty as beauty. The observers, the hidden witnesses. But then there's another type. The ones who don't post, but they are watching. They are scrolling. They are absorbing. They are the invisible audience to your life. Here's the truth about these people. They are often processing the world differently than you are. While you are creating, they are analyzing. While you are performing, they are understanding. Research on social comparison theory shows that passive social media consumption, scrolling without posting, can have complex psychological effects. For some people, it creates anxiety and depression. But for others, it creates something different, a deep understanding of human behavior. These observers are often naturally introspective. They are the ones who notice patterns, who see through performances, who understand that what people post is often the opposite of what they are feeling. The happier the post, sometimes the sadder the person. And this is where it gets interesting. These non-posters have developed what psychologists call social intelligence, the ability to read situations, understand motivations, and navigate complex social dynamics without actively participating in them. They are like anthropologists studying a culture from the outside. And sometimes, that outside perspective gives them insights that participants can never have. The authenticity seekers, refusing the performance. Then there are the people who don't post because they've seen through the illusion. They've recognized that social media isn't really social. It's theater. There's a beautiful concept in existential psychology about authenticity, living in alignment with your true self rather than the self you think others expect. And for some people, the entire premise of social media feels fundamentally inauthentic. Think about what happens when you post something. You are not just sharing. You are crafting a narrative, choosing an angle, selecting a filter, writing a caption that presents the experience in a certain light. You are creating a character, and that character is a version of you, but it's not quite you. These people have asked themselves a question: who am I performing for? And when they couldn't find an answer that felt true, they stopped performing altogether. But here's what's fascinating. This isn't about superiority. It's not about thinking they are above social media. It's about recognizing a fundamental incompatibility between who they are and what the medium demands. There's research showing that people with high levels of self-awareness often have more conflicted relationships with social media. They can see the gap between their internal experience and what they could possibly communicate publicly. And that gap feels dishonest. So they choose silence. Not because they have nothing to say, but because what they have to say can't be translated into a post. The overwhelmed, when silence is self-preservation. And then there are the people who don't post because they are barely keeping their heads above water. And this is where we need to talk about something important. Not everyone who's silent online is making an intentional choice. Some people are silent because they are struggling, because they are depressed, because they are exhausted, because the idea of packaging their life into something presentable feels impossible when they can barely get through the day. There's a concept in psychology called impression management, the conscious or unconscious process of trying to influence others' perceptions of you. And maintaining that management requires energy, mental energy, emotional energy, creative energy. When you're running on empty, you don't have that energy. So you disappear. Not because you want to, but because you have to. And here's what's really happening. While everyone else is posting their highlight reels, these people are living their blooper reels. And they know that if they posted honestly, it wouldn't fit. It would be too much, too raw, too real. So they stay silent. And the silence compounds. Because the longer you are gone, the harder it is to come back. The more you feel like you've missed. The more you feel like everyone else has moved on without you. But the truth is, your silence doesn't mean you are forgotten. It often means you are missed. The freedom seekers, breaking the dopamine loop. There's another group we need to talk about. The people who stopped posting because they recognized what social media was doing to their brains. Neuroscience has shown us that social media activates the same reward pathways as gambling and drugs. Every like, every comment, every share triggers a little hit of dopamine. And over time, you can become dependent on that validation. Some people have recognized this. They've felt it. That compulsion to check. That need for approval. That anxiety when a post doesn't perform well. That comparison when someone else's post does better. And they've made a radical choice to opt out entirely. These are the people who have realized that their self-worth was becoming entangled with metrics. That they were making decisions about where to go, what to wear, how to present themselves, based on what would perform well online rather than what felt true. So they stopped. They deleted the apps. They stopped posting. And at first, it felt like withdrawal. Because it was withdrawal. But here's what happened next. Space opened up. Mental space. Emotional space. Creative space. They started making decisions based on what they actually wanted, not what would look good. They started having experiences for the experience itself, not for the documentation. And slowly, they found something they'd lost, themselves. The present moment people, living beyond the screen. But the truth is, some people don't post for the simplest reason of all. They are too busy actually living. There's research on something called flow state, that state of complete absorption in an activity where time disappears and you are fully present. And here's what's fascinating. You can't be in flow and be documenting at the same time. They are mutually exclusive. People who don't post are often people who have prioritized flow over documentation, who would rather be in the moment than capture it, who understand that some experiences are too precious to interrupt. Think about it. When you are truly present, really, deeply present, the last thing you think about is your phone. You are not thinking about how this will look on your feed. You are not composing a caption in your head. You are just there. These people have made a choice, conscious or not, that presence matters more than proof. That the memory in their mind is more valuable than the image on a screen. And maybe that's the real luxury in our modern age. Not expensive things or exotic locations, but the ability to be somewhere without needing anyone else to know you were there. The cost of silence. But let's be honest about something. Not posting comes with costs too. In a world where social media has become the primary way people stay connected, opting out can mean being left out. Invitations happen in group chats you are not part of. Plans are made in comments you don't see. Relationships drift because you are not in the daily scroll of someone's life. There's a phenomenon called social capital, and research shows that online engagement can build and maintain social connections. When you don't post, you are not participating in that ecosystem. And slowly, invisibly, you can become forgotten. Not because people don't care about you, but because out of sight really can become out of mind. And this is where it gets painful. Because many people who don't post are often the ones who could most benefit from connection. The ones who are struggling. The ones who are lonely. The ones who are isolated. But the very act of reaching out through social media feels impossible. Either because they can't find the words, or because they've been silent so long they don't know how to break it. What it all means. So what does all of this tell us? What's the psychology of people who don't post really about? It's about this: we all have different ways of existing in the world. Different needs. Different boundaries. Different relationships with attention, validation, and privacy. For some people, posting is natural, energizing, connecting. It's how they process their experiences and maintain relationships. But for others, posting feels like a betrayal of something essential. A performance they can't maintain. A translation they can't make. Or simply a choice that doesn't align with how they want to live. And neither is right or wrong. They are just different. The people who don't post aren't necessarily more enlightened. They are not necessarily more authentic. They are not necessarily living better lives. But they are also not less interesting. Not less connected. Not less worthy of being known. They are just quieter. And in a world that rewards volume, quiet gets misunderstood. The invitation. If you are someone who doesn't post, I want you to know something. Your silence doesn't make you invisible. Your absence doesn't make you less valuable. Your choice to live privately in a public world doesn't make you wrong. You are allowed to keep things for yourself. You are allowed to have experiences that exist only in your memory and in the memories of the people who were there. You are allowed to opt out of the performance without opting out of connection. And if your silence is because you are struggling, if it's because you are overwhelmed, if it's because you don't know how to package your pain into something presentable, you are not alone in that either. There are more people living in that silence than you know. More people struggling in the gaps between the posts. More people who feel like they are failing because they can't keep up with a game they never wanted to play. Your worth isn't measured in likes. Your life isn't less real because it's not documented. Your connections aren't less meaningful because they are not publicly visible. And if you are someone who posts regularly, who shares openly, who finds joy and connection in social media, there's nothing wrong with that either. But maybe, just maybe, take a moment to think about the people who aren't there. The friends who never comment. The ones who seem to have disappeared. They haven't disappeared. They're just living differently. And they might need to hear from you in ways that aren't public. In ways that don't require performance. In ways that feel safe and small and private.